Hey everybody, this is Lloyd the Hammer here again with another talking video. I like it, I like talking about stuff that I'm passionate about, so let's go. This is my Q&A because I reached 1,000 subscribers, and I felt, which again I'm very thankful for. Thank you guys very much. And I felt like I needed to do some kind of special thing, so I thought, why not have y'all ask me some questions if you're interested? And y'all got some very interesting questions for me, which again, thank you very much. That is really cool. And I am here to try to answer them to the best of my abilities. So I have my list over here again. So if I look over to the side, same as the last video, I'm just looking at my list and I'm just reading your questions. Apologies in advance if I mispronounce your name. I'm gonna try my best, but let's just get into this. So the first question is from Retro Mura, and he asked, "Have you thought about making a collaborative video?" Yes, I have. I have already done two collabs last year with two of my good friends. And in that video, in the recap video that I did for 2023, I was talking about the fact that I had a thing with like collabs and why I did not like want to do any collabs for so long. And now I can finally answer it. Like the reason for that is like over the span of 9 years, in 2010 to 2019, I've played in two different bands, right? One lasting for like 2.5 years, I think, and then the second one was more of my own band. It was more like a band where I had a much bigger influence, right? Like I was doing a lot of the songwriting. At least I wanted to do a lot of songwriting. I was super into like that band and all the band members and like their abilities as musicians. They were all amazing and still are probably amazing musicians. But like that band was, I like I said, I was so into it. I was super motivated to get it going to the point where I felt like I was like the only one that was as motivated, if that makes sense. Like I was super motivated to get it going. So I was like, there was like a lot of weight on my shoulders, if that makes sense. Like I felt like if I didn't like make certain like arrangements about like rehearsal or like gigs or just getting together about whatever was going on, like I felt like nothing would have happened. Like I feel like every band needs at least like one or two people like that, otherwise it just goes nowhere, you know what I mean? And as if for all the people that have been in bands before, like being in a band is basically the equivalent of collaborating with your band members. So there was a lot of like collaborating in my life over those like 9 years. And at some point it just got so annoying to me where I actually had to like arrange like a band meeting because it was just too much stress, I guess, and too much like weight on my shoulders, and I just felt like I wanted everybody else to contribute some more into the that side of being in a band. You know what I mean? Like getting gigs and making sure that we can record a demo or like an album or whatever. And I actually like arranged like a band meeting, and they agreed. They all agreed, and they were going to put some more effort into that side, which I was very grateful for. But unfortunately, after a couple of months later after that, some band members were deciding to leave because of personal reasons, and they had school, or they just weren't that into it anymore, and they just felt like they just didn't want to be in the band anymore. So in 2019 of September, we decided to end the yeah, just end it all basically. And for me, that was an enormous blow to my life, because as I was saying, I was so motivated, I was so into it. I almost saw that as like my life's work, if that makes sense. Like I was saying, I was doing a lot of songwriting. Like I've written a lot of songs for that band, and it was sort of like my outlet for my passion, which is still to this day obviously music. But at that point in time, that hasn't changed. Like I was super into the music, and it was super fun to play live and just hang out and meet people and all that stuff, you know what I mean? And it just ended just like that, and just 6 years of sort of like pure dedication. At least at that time it felt like it was just down the drain, you know what I mean? It was just gone, and it was a huge blow to my life. And I don't know, at that time, when we decided to stop, I just really did not know what I wanted to do with my life, because like I was saying, it sort of was like my life's work at the time. And it was just very tough. And but to get back into the whole collaborating thing, like the reason why I just sort of like held off for like the next 3 years was basically because of that. Like I was just so done with it all. I was so it was so frustrating, and I was just done with it at that point in my life, and I just wanted to like I just wanted to sort of like steer my own ship, if that makes sense. I just felt like if I just do this by myself, this whole YouTube thing, you know what I mean? There's nothing in my way, because being in a band is almost like you're married to like all the other people in the band, you know what I mean? You have to deal with their schedules, you have to deal with their illnesses, you have to deal with like whatever is going on in their life, and it's obviously all that is part of being in a band. But it just got, like I was saying, it just got really annoying. Like when I had like a good gig that we could play, and then there was somebody that said, no, I have to go to my aunt's birthday or something, or you know what I mean? It's just like, come on, like show some dedication here. Like this is a good chance for us, and now we're just throwing that chance away. So you know what I mean? Like I'm not knocking anybody, like this is all like part of life, but it just, to my in my experience with that, it just got really annoying. So I just basically wanted to steer my own ship, like I was saying, and just make my own schedule. With YouTube, there was nothing in my way. Like I had my own schedule. I could just be like, okay, I want to try this out, I want to do this song, and I want to release it on that day. And there was nothing in my way, and it has been that way for pretty much the last 4 years. And it was such a weirdly freeing sort of feeling, I guess, and I just sort of stuck with that, because I just did not want to go back to that whole like sort of like obstacles, I guess. Like there were no obstacles in my life at that time, because except for like work or something, but that's just also like part of life, that just needs to be a thing. But there was nothing in my way, and I could just steer my own ship and make my own schedule, and I did not want to go back to the whole collabing with people, because I don't know, maybe I just got sort of weirdly traumatized by it or something. I don't freaking know, but whatever it was, I just did not want to go back to that. And after 3 years, I had made a lot of good friends over the years, and I saw them like collabing with each other and all that stuff, and I was just like, okay, maybe it's time for me to like open up about this again, instead of like being completely closed off about it, and just open up to it. And that's basically what I did, and that's why I did collab last year with two of my good friends. And it was especially like the first one, where I just had that feeling like, wow, this is actually way easier than I thought it would be. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like I sort of had like a fear, I guess, before, like in the last 3 years, where I just was like, I just do not want to get into that annoying stuff again. You know what I mean? And after doing that first collab, it sort of like showed me that this is actually really cool, and there's nothing to be afraid of. Like there was no, it was smooth sailing throughout the whole thing. You know what I mean? There was no annoyances at all. So yeah, that is basically why my whole thing with like collabs, and I hope that makes sense. But I hope Retro Mura that sorry I went on a bit of a rant there, but you know yeah, I hope that answered your question. All right, so let's go to the next question. This is from my Dutch buddy, Defrax, with 2 X's. That is awesome. And he asked, what game do you hate the most, and how old are you? Well, the easy question is I am 30 years old. I turned 31 this month. So that's the easy question. The first question, what game do I hate the most? Yeah, that is a really good question. I've played a lot of games in my time, but I'm not really the type that like hates a game, if that makes sense. Like I actually went through like all my games that I've collected over the years, and there was like pretty much every game I had some kind of fun with, you know what I mean? Like at some point in my life anyway. Maybe they're not as good nowadays as they were back then, but yeah, like pretty much every game I've had some kind of fun with. But there was one game that stood out to me, and that sort of like came to mind immediately, and that is Sonic and the Secret Rings for Wii. I have it right here, right there it is. And that one, I just remember when I bought that, I was pretty excited about it, because at that time I was still pretty into Sonic. Like Sonic was a big, he left a big influence on me, like growing up and stuff. Sonic Adventure 2 was my first one, so yeah. And I just remember in like the first 10 minutes when I popped the game in and I started it up, and I just had this feeling that like I may or may not have wasted my money. Like it was just like something about like the control scheme where you had to hold the Wii remote like sideways, and Sonic would just go forward like all the time, and like they sort of had him on like a rail, I guess. It was very strange, because I was used to like Sonic games where you can just like freely move around and go fast. He wasn't even that fast. Like at the beginning of the game, he wasn't super fast. Like you had to like level up. You have to level up his like stats, I guess, and then he'd get like faster and faster as you play more. But like at the beginning of the game, it was just I don't know, like a fast walking or something. I don't know. It was just very, very strange to me. And yeah, just like I was saying, the way you control him is it's almost like you're like steering like a car or something. You have to like tilt the Wii remote left, and he'd go left, and then you had to like steer it right, and he would go right. And then when you jump and you want to do like a homing attack, you had to like thrust the Wii remote forward like that, and I don't know, like it was just a very, very strange Sonic game in my opinion. And also the fact that you couldn't move around freely. Like Sonic to me was all about like exploration and just, you know, finding, well, first of all going fast obviously, but you know, like exploration and just finding like hidden secrets and all that stuff and hidden items. But if you wanted to go backwards in Sonic and the Secret Rings, like he wouldn't even turn around. He would just like walk backwards like that, and the camera wouldn't turn around either. So you wouldn't be like, you couldn't even see what was behind you when you were trying to backtrack. It was just like, I don't know, there was just in my opinion there was just a lot of things wrong with that game. And I did beat it eventually, because you know I didn't want to like feel like I completely wasted my money. I still wanted to like get the most out of it, I guess. But I just remember that's like the only game that I vividly remember popping in and just almost immediately thinking like this was a waste of money. So I hope that answers your question, Deadrax. And I'm sorry if you're a Sonic fan and this is like your favorite game, or you do like Sonic and the Secret Rings, it's just not. It was not for me. This is just my opinion. So yeah. All right, on to the next question. This is from my good friend Navan Shwarma. How you doing, Navan? And he asked, "What's your favorite Fall Guys map besides Wall Guys?" Well, all right. So for everybody out there that doesn't know, like me and 8-Bit Battleground, we hang around like almost every weekend and we play some video games. Most of the time it's Fall Guys, and there's a certain game in Fall Guys, for those of you who played it, called Wall Guys, and I absolutely hate that game. It's a terrible game in my opinion, because you're all super clustered. You're trying to climb like a wall because it's called Wall Guys, but you're trying to like climb over walls, and you'd have to like move like platforms and sort of like create like a stair for yourself, or like stairs for yourself, and then you can just get over the wall, right? And then you have to do that until the finish. But just playing that with like, I don't know, like 25 or like 40 like other people all trying to do that at once, it's just, oh my god, it is awful. It is just pure garbage in my opinion. So it's sort of like a thing that, you know, when we're playing and Wall Guy shows up and they laugh because I rage. Which is obviously totally fine. I totally get it. So yeah, but yeah, okay, to answer your question, my favorite Fall Guys map, it has to be, the first thing that came to mind is Fall Ball, because it is like the closest thing to Rocket League, I guess. It's definitely like inspired by Rocket League, I'd say. And I just like the fact of that whole like team effort. You know what I mean? The whole like Sonic Heroes, the superpower of teamwork, all that stuff. Like I just like being in a team, and you know, like me and Navan would always be the defensive squad, and then the other people would be the offensive ones. And I just remember always having fun when that happens, because it's just, you know, it's super satisfying when you're playing well and you're defending the goal well and the others score, and then we destroy the other team with like a total shutout, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff, it's just super fun. So I'd say Fall Ball is like my favorite Fall Guys map. And like honorable mentions I had were like Pixel Painters. I like Pixel Painters a lot, because of that sort of like teamwork thing. And at some point you get good enough where you don't really have to like communicate at all with each other. It's just all like you're just completely in sync, like the synergy is real, you know what I mean? And the other one is Hexagon. Hexagon is just super fun. Like it's a very skill-based game, I'd say. There's no luck involved, and it's just fun to like try to do your best and just stay on the upper layers while everybody down there, or just go completely Professor Chaos and just, you know, get rid of all the panels and just hope people fall down and all that stuff. So yeah, that is I hope that answered your question, Navan. Thank you for asking. All right, on to the next one. This is from Ninja Ghost 860, and he asked, "Hey Lloyd, would you ever do music/sound effects for sale? What country and language are you from?" Okay, that is well, again, the simple question is what country I'm from. I am from the Netherlands. I live in Amsterdam, and yeah, my language is Dutch, because yeah. And would you ever do music/sound effects for sale? Well, I'm not gonna say never, obviously. Like, who knows? Like, at this point in time, I'm not really that interested in the whole thing, because there's sort of this like weird thing going. Well, it's not really weird. It's just not for me, I guess. Like a lot of people, like a lot of like video game music artists out there are very like occupied with the whole like licensing of their like songs, so they get like a bit of like money for it and stuff. And for me, I don't know, I just always it never felt good to me to like make money from music that was not created by me, if that makes sense. Like I'm fine with like donations and stuff if somebody like watches my video and they're so touched by the whole thing, like maybe they have some kind of like wholesome memory in their mind about that game, and they're seeing that video and they're just like, oh my god, this is, you know, like they get some kind of like feeling like that, and they want to like make a donation. That is a different thing. But for me personally, I just do not like the idea of making money from somebody else's music, because let's be real, like we can't forget that us, well, I'm not going to talk for others, but like I'm a video game music artist, but I'm playing music that was not created by me. Like we should, I never forget that, uh, I will never say like my music, because it's not I'm just covering somebody else's music, and I'm making my own interpretation of that person's music. You know what I mean? Like by making my own arrangement of it, or just playing it, just the fact that I'm playing it on guitar, even if it was like originally created for a console, you know, or whatever, like a handheld, anything. So I don't know. At this point in time, I'm just not comfortable with that whole like selling my selling my music or sound effects and stuff, because I don't know, I just really don't feel comfortable with making money off of someone else's creation. So not, you know what I mean, I'm not gonna say never, because that is just not, that's just a stupid thing to say, but at this point in time, the answer is no. So yeah. All right, let's go to the next question. This is coming from GamePuckin4, and he asked, why did you start doing YouTube? Well, yeah, I sort of got into that with the other question, but why did I start doing YouTube? I just remember seeing Family Jules's video like way back in the day. I think that has to have been like 2014 or something, and I just remember it was this Mega Man X guitar medley that I saw, and I just remember being so like blown away by it. It just sort of like opened my eyes, where I was just like, oh my god, like video game music is actually like really good music outside of video games, if that makes sense. Like at that time, I only associated video game music with video games, but I did not see it as like actual really good music, you know what I mean? And I just remember getting so inspired by him, and just seeing how he constructed like his arrangements and his videos and all that stuff. And I guess that sort of like planted like a seed in my head, if that makes sense, because I didn't do YouTube until like 5 years later, obviously, but it was something where I was getting interested in like playing video game music on guitar, like not for YouTube, but just in my own time, just for fun, you know what I mean? And yeah, why did I start doing YouTube? Yeah, basically because my band was over, like I was saying earlier, and I just, the passion for music is so real that I just simply cannot get rid of it, you know what I mean? It's just one of those passions that I just cannot live without. I cannot live without music, listening to music or playing music. It's just sort of like part of my DNA or whatever, like it's just part of my life until the day I die, probably. You know, I just got, like I was saying, I got so inspired by that, and the band was over, and I felt like, let's just give this a shot. Let's just try this out. Let's just see if I can record like a medley. I did Journey to Silius, which was a very hidden gem and not that popular NES game, and I just was like, let's just try this. Like, I'm just gonna get like a DAW, get an audio interface, and let's see what happens, because I don't know, it was just one of those like whatever things. Like I did not think it through. I was just gonna be like, I'm just gonna try it and see what happens. So I recorded the thing. I made video for it too, because I find it very important to like being able to see somebody play the music, because there's a lot of like studio magic out there, you know what I mean, and that's all in good, like there's nothing wrong with it, but to me it is way more authentic to actually watch somebody play the thing. It's just, to me, that's just a personal thing. I like that so much more, so I knew that I wanted like video for it too. And I just did that. I recorded it. I mixed it. Not great looking back, but it was something at least. And I edited the video, and then I posted it on YouTube. And like literally, like the first thought that I had was just like, what in the F am I doing? Like, I was just like, why am I doing this? Like, there are so many video game music artists out there on YouTube. There's no way that I'm gonna get seen by anybody. Like, this is gonna be one of those like channels that has like 0 views on all their videos, which honestly makes me really sad, because I love seeing passionate people. But I hate it when I see that passion doesn't get noticed. But anyway, that's a different thing. But yeah, I just had that thought, and I was just like, what in the F am I doing? But I did it anyway. It was uploaded, it was on YouTube, and believe it or not, but the first, like in the first hour or something that it was live or it was on YouTube, I already got a comment on it, and I was just like, what the H, you know, like no way, like, and like it was just one word, and it said perfect, and I was just like, boom. You know what I mean? It was just, it completely blew my mind, and I was just like, wow. So the thing that I posted up here is because, you know, there's some kind of like, there's obviously when you're putting yourself out there on YouTube and the internet, like everybody can just say whatever they want on the internet. So I was also like sort of like fearful of like hate or something, you know what I mean? Like what if my mix is so terrible that somebody says something awful to me or something like that, you know what I mean? So that was also sort of like in the mix, and just the fact that it was already in that same day, and the comment was just a one word, and it just said perfect, and it just like, I don't know, it was amazing. It was really awesome, and it gave me sort of like motivation to try it again, and that is basically what I did. And then after that, I just kept on doing it again and again and again and again and again, and that is basically why I am where I am now. It's just because I noticed that I liked it. Like I really liked how video game music sounded on guitar and with my tone, and just the fact that I could still, yeah, because I could still get creative, you know what I mean? Like what I did in my my band was I loved getting creative and just creating music. I just absolutely loved it, because I was just picturing it in my head, like, oh man, this is gonna sound amazing live. Like, can you imagine if everybody claps along to this part or just headbangs along to this part? I always went sort of like in my head with that stuff when I was like creating music. And for video game music, I also still had that sort of like creative freedom, you know what I mean? Like I could create drums or something like based on like the original maybe, but I could make my own fills or my own beats or whatever, and just get creative with that, or like get creative with like rhythm guitar parts or like bass parts, or like extra harmonies that aren't in the original or stuff like that. Like anything that sort of like enters my mind when I'm arranging or like creating, I just try out, and if I really like it, then I keep it in, you know what I mean? And I just realized, I guess, that was also part of the thing of making video game music covers. I could still have like an outlet for my passion of music and playing music, but also for creating music. You know what I mean? Even if it's not my music, and let's don't forget, but I could still get creative with that, and that was just the best thing ever. That is basically why I just got hooked on it, I guess. I just really got hooked on it, and not I'm yeah, like I said, I'm not stopping anytime soon. It's still super fun to get creative and just arrange like medleys and arrange covers and make drums and make rhythm guitar parts. It's still as fun to me these days as it was when I started. And you know, obviously, I feel like I've gotten way better at it too over the 4 years. So yeah, that is basically why I got into YouTube, and you know, it, like I was saying, like best decision I've ever made in my life, because I've met so many great people along the way, which who are still to this day great friends of mine. Um, and I've seen so many other people which do things that I wouldn't do, and that like inspires me to also do that. You know what I mean? It's just like it's really the best decision I've ever made in my life. Really is. So yeah, that is. I hope that answered your question. Thank you for the question. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is asked by Tavares XD. I hope I say that correctly. And he asked, what was the first game that made you want to learn how to play the song? Also a great question. Oh man. I feel like that has to be because I was already saying that Family Jewels, when I watched that for the first time, that opened up a whole new world for me. And I remember going like onto his channel and just at his discography, I guess, or like all the videos he has done, and I saw that he did a medley of Super Mario 64. And I was just like, hell yes. Like Mario 64, obviously for me personally, a huge childhood game. That was the first N64 game that I played. At that time I was super into Mario because of Mario World, you know what I mean? And just the fact that Mario had like a voice now, Charles Martinet, like that was the first time that I heard Charles as Mario, and it just completely sort of like changed the character to something even bigger than it already was. He actually had some personality to him instead of just being like a man dressed in red going to the right and trying to save the princess, you know what I mean? There was actually like all those voice clips that he had, and just the way that he punched or kicked or like jumped super high. Like I was just absolutely fucking in love with that stuff. It was amazing, and it had a big influence on my life. And I just saw like Family Jewels' version of Mario 64, and at that point I think, yeah, I obviously I had been playing guitar, but I was mostly focused on like rhythm guitar playing. I just liked rhythm guitar playing so much more at that time. Still do actually. I still like rhythm guitar more, but that sort of like opened up the idea of playing leads on my guitar. And I just remember watching that and just getting inspired and trying to like play along with Family Jewels' version. And yeah, so and that is basically because of Family Jewels, like the amount of videos he already had, like of all these like childhood games of mine, like Banjo-Kazooie or like Star Fox 64 or Super Mario 64. I was saying, like all that stuff, I just got super into that and just playing along with his versions, and that sort of helped me like develop my skills with lead playing, because like I was saying, I was already playing guitar like Metallica stuff and like Megadeth and Slayer and all that stuff for years, but I never was interested in solos or anything. I'm still not interested in solos, but I just can't solo for S. But um, um, I just remember doing that and just, you know, getting getting into it and just developing my lead skills because of just his amount of videos that he had, and I just really liked it. So yeah, that is basically how that happened. So I hope that answered your question. Thank you for asking. Let's move on to the next one. This is from LookTV7341. And he asked, show us in short clips how you record. How long do you need to nail a normal cover, and what guitars do you prefer and why? Well, I've shot some clips for you, so I will insert those now. Hello. So this is where all the recording happens. This is my bedroom. You can see my Flying V guitar right there. That's the guitar that I use for all of my lead tracks, at least nowadays. Over here, obviously, we have my bed over there, and I have everything set up right there. Here's my laptop with my DAW. The DAW that I use is Reaper. Highly recommended. It's a great DAW. Over here, I have my Focusrite, which I use as my audio interface. It has two inputs. I like to have two of them just in case. Like sometimes I'd have to use like a microphone or something, and then I can just use the other one for something else. So I'd much rather have two of them. And back there, I have my speaker, which I use so I can actually hear myself playing. Because usually you would wear like headphones or something, but I just really don't like the idea of like wearing headphones in the video and just have like a wire like run down like all the time, and that's just like in every shot. And I don't know, it just doesn't look good to me. So I'd much rather have like a speaker right there. It's close to me, so I can just actually hear myself playing. So yeah, that is basically that. And obviously that both of those are directly connected to my laptop over there. Um, so what this is over here, this is where I place my camera in front of me. It's nothing fancy at all. Like you'd probably expect like some big fancy stand or something where I place my camera, like most people do. But no, for me, I've been doing this ever since the beginning. I just stack a bunch of games on top of each other. And then I just place my camera right here on Paper Mario in this case, and then it's like right in front of me. And yeah, if I adjust it well enough, you can actually see like all of the neck, hopefully, and you can actually see me play all of the parts. So definitely not a fancy thing, but it works. And you know, if it works, don't fix what isn't broken, in my opinion. So yeah, that is that. And as far as lighting goes, I just use these two. Just regular desk lamps. I just turn them on. Also, again, nothing fancy. Like you see a lot of people out there with like big studio lamps and all that stuff. But for me personally, it's not necessary, at least not right now. And I just use these. I just turn them on and put them on the floor. And then I can just adjust like how far away they are from me or anything like that. And then hopefully I can get something that looks good to me, and then I just start recording. That is basically it. And I also have a little light up there, like this white wire you're seeing right now goes up, and there's like it's like a lighting that I can clip on to stuff. So if I need some extra lighting, then I can just use that, and yeah, just create some more light. And I won't show it right now because it's turned on, and that just doesn't look good on camera. So I won't show that. But yeah, that is basically it. So just give me a sec, and I'll plug in my guitar, and I'll place the camera like how you're used to like seeing the some of the clips in the final video, and then I'll show you how I record my lead parts. All right, so I have everything set up right now. I have my laptop over here next to me with Reaper open. I obviously make sure that my laptop is out of frame of the camera because it just looks distracting and it just does not look good to me. So I make sure that it's never in frame. And I thought I would just play some Bubble Bobble for you guys because Bubble Bobble is a fun song. I always use a metronome because it just helps me a lot to like play on time. So I highly recommend when you're practicing your instrument, just or at least to like get you going, like practice with a metronome. It definitely helps like develop your timing and all that stuff. So that. And as far as like camera angle goes, I just make sure that the entire neck is visible so you can actually At least nowadays, like back in the days, sometimes the entire neck wasn't visible, but at least nowadays I make sure that the entire neck is visible so you can just see my entire hand move across the neck. So if you're like wanting to learn my stuff or whatever, you can see how I'm playing it basically. So that's what I do as far as like camera angles. And another thing that I do, at least with like the lead guitars and the clean guitar, so basically everything that I play on this Flying V guitar, I play live. So I record my audio and the video at the same time. Because back in the day, like I want to say like the first 10 or maybe 15 videos or something, I would like record the entire thing like off camera and then replicate it like on camera. And I just found that that was such an like an, at least to me, like an inefficient way, because I'd have to like listen back and I have to be like, okay, I did like a slide over here, I did like a vibrato on this note, I did like a bend over on that note and all that stuff, and it was just, it was not I don't know, I just got really annoyed with it, and I just was like, I have to change this. So now that I'm doing audio and video at the same time, it's more of like a in the moment kind of thing, you know what I mean, and which I like way more, because like all the things that you're seeing in the video, it means that that was the moment that I nailed the riff. You know what I mean? So it was like a, it's a much more in the moment kind of thing. And all I have to do is just make sure that I play on time and play the correct stuff, and that's it. So much more efficient that way, in my opinion, anyway. Um, I only, like I said, I only do that for the lead guitars and the clean guitars. I'll get into what I do with the rhythm guitar and the bass in a bit. But right now, enough talking. Let's just record some bubble bobble. Like I said, I have Reaper over here. All I have to do is press Control R, and then it'll start recording. I have the metronome set up for 1 round until the track actually starts playing. And yeah, then I just have to do that, and I have to play the part correctly. And if I do, then hell yeah. So let's just get into it. So here we go. So yeah, that wasn't the cleanest riff in the world, but at least you get the idea. If I just mess up or something, all I have to do is just hit Control C, the track goes away, and then I can just hit Control R again, and I can go for another round. So that is not at all annoying. I can just like mess up, Control C, Control R, and go for another one. So it's pretty quick, and yeah, that is basically it. That is what I do for all the lead tracks. I just do this, and then until I nail the part, and then I can just move on to the next part, and then I do that for the entire thing that you're seeing in the final video. And yeah, that is basically it for the leads. So yeah. All right, so one more thing that I wanted to tell you, like when it comes to like camera angles and stuff, like let's just say I'm recording like an NES medley or something, and there's like one track on the left, all the riffs on the left, and there's one track on the right with all the riffs on the right side. Whenever I'm done with like the left side and I want to move on to the right side, I just make sure that I change my camera angle like a little bit. So, because if I wouldn't do that, then and I would record like both tracks with the same camera angle, then like the way how I edit my videos, like it's always like a single clip, right? There's never like two clips at once. So if I like would like jump cut to like a different clip and like my hand is like over here, if I would like jump cut at that moment to like where my hand is playing over here, that would just look insanely weird because it's the exact same camera angle and there's you probably won't even see the jump cut, and my hand would just like in like one frame it would just all of a sudden be over here instead of over here, you know what I mean? So that just I just imagine that looks very very unnatural and weird. So what I do, like when I do, for example, I want to move on to like the right side of the medley that I'm recording, I just slightly, I'll show it to you, I just slightly change my camera angle like this, just shove my chair over a bit where my camera is placed like that, and then I just get into position again, and then I record the right side. So whenever I'm jump cutting between the two tracks now, it'll look much more natural, and my hand doesn't just like go all over just here and then all of a sudden in less than a frame I'm over here. You know what I mean? It just, I don't know. It just definitely something that I imagine looks very weird. So I just wanted to give that tip to you if you're also trying to get into this. Okay, so now I'm all set up to play some rhythm guitar. This is always the angle that I use. It's nice right in front of me. The thing that I find important is that you can just see the guitar and me like at all times, like because I'm playing when I'm playing, and sometimes I just get like way too into it. I'm like headbanging or like dancing around or like whatever, and sometimes I just my feet, I just trip over my own feet, and then all of a sudden I'm playing like over here, you know what I mean? But at least you can see, like even if I move like all the way over here, you can still see me. If I go over here, you can still see me play. And that, I just find that to be very important because it just looks nicer. It's nicer to look at, I guess. That is what I'm going for. As far as what I do with like unlike the lead guitar and all the like everything that I play on the flying V guitar, like that is all like audio and video at the same time. For rhythm guitar and bass, I pre-record the audio for both of those, and then I play it here for video. But I still like play everything exactly the same way as I did in the audio, because I that's just what I need to do. It feels more authentic to me because I recorded it that way for a reason. I think like all these riffs through. Like I don't just do whatever. I just think everything through. Like everything when it comes to slides or palm mutes or anything. I think it all through, and then I just I play it like the exact same way as I did in the audio. So it feels more authentic to me, and it's also way more authentic to watch. So that's why I always have my jack cable plugged in over here, because I have had it happen where I recorded the track once forgetting to plug my guitar in, and then I basically had to do it again because it just looks weird. It's like my guitar is making an amplified sound, but there's no jack in my guitar, so that just it just doesn't look natural. So I'm going for like the most like authentic and natural look basically for all my videos. So also a tip about this thing I want to show is make sure, like I'll show it to you, like oh, I'll plug it in like through my strap over here. So like this, I hope you can see it. So it hangs like this, and then I plug it in. So that way, when you're like dancing around and headbanging and whatever you're doing, you lessen the chance of it like popping out, and then you basically have to start over if that happens. So this way, if I like pull on this on the jack a bit, like there's no way that this thing will fly out. So no matter how crazy I go. So yeah, that is a tip I wanted to give you. And the only thing that I still want to say is like everything that I play, it's all authentic and it's all in the moment. Like I don't choreograph or script anything. Like if I just headbang along or smiling or whatever weird facial expression I make, or anything that happens in the video is all in the moment. And I script nothing, I choreograph nothing. It's all a moment thing. It's just what I'm feeling at that moment. And then yeah, that is what it is. and I always make sure that, or at least I try to, like, I always make sure that I get like the track in one go, because that way when I'm like going into editing, when all that stuff needs to happen, I just need to sync it once, and then the entire thing is going to be in sync. So that's really nice, instead of having to have like 5 rhythm tracks or something and I have to sync that up like 5 times. I just make sure that I play the entire thing. So even like medleys for like whatever, like the DKC2 medley, 15 minutes long, that was all in one take. Unbelievably enough, I was shocked by it myself that I was able to pull that off. But that was all in one take, and I had to like sync it up once, and the entire thing was in sync. So I can definitely recommend just trying to do that. Like I've had moments where I got so frustrated because like certain parts were just really difficult for me to like memorize and stuff. And I have had moments where I made like multiple rhythm tracks, like video rhythm tracks, and then I spliced that together. But yeah, it's just when I'm like really, really frustrated or like desperate for time or something where I do that. But most of the time, it's all like a one take thing and just a moment, just in the moment. But still, like I said, I play it exactly the same way as the audio. If I do like a slide, I do a slide. If I do a palm mute, I do a palm mute. Like all of that stuff is exactly the way as it is in the audio. So it just looks the most, yeah, authentic and natural. That's basically what I'm going for. So yeah, that is basically all I wanted to say about the rhythm guitar. And like I said, I do the same thing, exact same thing for bass. So yeah. Okay, so I wanted to real quick give like the reason on why I pre-record my audio for the rhythm guitar and the bass, instead of doing it with the video and the audio at the same time like I do with the leads. The reason for that is because it's really, really difficult for me to just play all the parts super tight and super correct and also have a great time with it. Like if I would do that where I would just record like the audio and the video at the same time for rhythm and bass, I would probably just like focus on it way too much instead of just having a good time. And you know, it gives me like the opportunity to just have some fun with it, if that makes sense. Like I can still play everything correctly, I can still play it as exactly the way as how I recorded the audio, but it just gives me a lot more room for just having fun with the song, basically. So I can just, like I was saying, headbang a bit, just smile a bit while I'm playing because it's so fun, or just dance around to it, and I don't really have to think all that much, at least like not like 100,000% on how tight my playing is, if that makes sense. Like I hope that makes sense, but that is the reason why I don't do audio and video for rhythm and bass at the same time. As far as the other questions, how long do you need to nail a normal cover? Yeah, that really, really depends. It just depends on how difficult the riffs are. If it's like a super easy, well, yeah, super easy for me, I guess, riff to play, I don't know. It depends because I still have to like, for all the different shots, I still have to like change my camera every now and then. So it's sort of like all those like little thingies, you know, like add up, if that makes sense. So I want to say if I record like a cover from scratch, I want to say it takes like 4 hours or something, because I'm very like to row, I guess, or sort of like a perfectionist on my playing. Like I want it to be as tight as possible. So if I'm like off by like something that just bugs me, I guess I just re-record that part because I just want it to sound as tight as I can. So very rarely that I get to like a take in like, for the leads anyway, in like one take. I think that has happened maybe like, I don't know, not a whole lot of times, but it has happened that sometimes I do like a take and it's just like one long take all the way through the cover. I think Bubble Bobble was one where I just, I don't know, like I was saying, it's just a moment thing. So if I just play it correctly throughout the whole thing in one take, then that just happened. But yeah, so I'd say that, and it just depends. Like if it's a really difficult song where it has like certain parts in it that just takes some practice, where I have to like slow it down first or something and then just work my way up to speed, you know what I mean? That obviously takes time. So I'd say like for like a like an easy cover, I'd say it's like 4 hours or something, maybe 3 to 4 hours or something. That it's not super long, but it all depends because sometimes I'm still recording at like I don't know like 10 p.m. or something, and I'm still need to record the entire thing. That's why sometimes you can actually see like in my rhythm shots, there's like a clock behind me, you know what I mean? And sometimes it just says like 1:30 a.m. or something, and it's just like yeah, that I'm doing this in the middle of the night, middle of the night, or super early morning, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes that just has to happen because there were so many parts that I had to record beforehand, and all that just takes time, like I was saying, and then I still have to get that done because I want to keep it up to get like a weekly cover done. So yeah. So I'd say okay. So yeah, like 3 to 4 hours I'd say for like a normal cover. And what guitars do you prefer and why? Well, I love my Explorer when the white. So that's the white guitar. Absolutely love that guitar. I remember when I got it first, I was so inspired by it that I just wrote like 10 songs or something. It was just I don't know. At that point I had been playing on another guitar. I don't remember what shape that was, but I just got that one and I was so inspired by the look because obviously James Hetfield is an enormous influence on my playing and just everything like rhythm wise, and yeah, just an enormous influence on my life, and I just loved how he looked with the Explorer, and I just wanted to get one myself, and so yeah, that one absolutely love that guitar, and the Flying V also I prefer that one because. Also, like I think I did get that one before the Explorer because at that time I was also super into Megadeth, and Dave Mustaine is all about the Flying V's, right? At least I'm not sure if he still is, but at least at some point in his career he was all about Flying V's, and I just at that time, same thing as James Hetfield, was super influenced by him as a musician, and I just wanted to get like a guitar of my own, and that was the first one that I bought, and I remember having to get used to the fact that you have to like sort of like position it weird in order to play it. You can't like have it sideways at all. You have to like sort of have it like diagonally up and then play it. So I did that for a long time, and why do I prefer it? I mean, I've been playing on it for that long, and it suits my body, I guess. It just feels good to play, and like I've played on like a Gibson at some point, and that is also fine. But as far as like my own guitar that I just really like and just feels super comfortable to play, I definitely have to go with the ones that I have, and that is just the Explorer and the Flying V. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Thank you for asking. All right, we're going on to the last question, and this is by, I think that's a Dutch name. I'm just gonna assume. So Arjan Wubbe. Aryan Wubbe. I don't know how to say it in English. I think that I'm pretty sure that's a Dutch name. Anyway, he asked, "I'm very interested in your process. How do you analyze the pieces? Is it mostly using MIDI files or by ear? Do you record a temporary version / click track first, or do you record the parts on top of the original?" That's a very interesting question. Yes, I do analyze the pieces. I transcribe. So when I decide on what song I'm doing, right, or like if I'm doing a medley, let's just say a medley. When I'm deciding on like what songs I'm doing for a medley, I'm basically like going through the entire soundtrack, right? Like, so let's say I'm doing like a medley of Ocarina of Time, and I'm just going through the entire soundtrack, is listening and just sort of like keeping a list on, okay, this one is doable, this one is not, you know, and I sort of like write down all the songs that might sound good on guitar to me. Like obviously I'm sort of like familiar with my own style and all that stuff, so I just can just figure like, okay, this will fit my style pretty well. I can just maybe like add like a drum thing to this, and that I always go immediately into my own head with that stuff, and I just sort of like envision like how it could sound in a medley or like in a cover. So I do that. I go through the entire soundtrack and then just write down what songs I like, basically. So not just the popular songs. Like I said, I go through the entire thing. So that's why that's why sometimes in the medleys there are some songs that you wouldn't expect, because you know, like a lot of people out there that make covers only cover like the super popular and everybody knows this song songs. But I just really want to sometimes get into something that is not heard all that much by everybody out there, and I just want to sort of like shine a light on also on those songs that also are really good. The Save Your Game music from Donkey Kong Country 1, that is one that like in the game you hear like 5 seconds of it, and then you move on, but that is actually an entire like 1.5 minute song, and it's great. So I wanted to put that in the medley. But anyway, so I do that, and then I sort of like check how long like all the songs are, because I'd much rather avoid like a medley of like, well, I've done it in the past, but like a 15-minute long medley, because that is just like a lot of work, obviously. So I just make sure I just, all the songs that I like, I just check how long they all are, and then I add that all up, and then I get sort of like an estimate on how long the medley is going to be. So if I notice that it's already like at like 12 minutes or something, then I'm like, okay, I probably gotta like cut some songs down, or maybe I have to like shorten the songs a bit in the medley. Maybe I can do that to like make the actual video a bit shorter. So when I've done that, I've decided on my list. At that point, I am transcribing all the songs myself by ear. So because I feel like a lot of midis out there or taps out there are just plain wrong. It's just it frustrates me. Like I remember back in like 2000, maybe like 2012 or something, I noticed that a lot of taps out there were made by obviously, you know, not very musically trained people or something, because just like anybody can make them and anybody can post them online. And I just noticed that I don't know, it was just one of those things where I was just like, how can you not tell that is wrong? You know what I mean? Like there's no way that you're just not taking this seriously. That's basically how it felt to me. So at that time, I sort of made it my thing where I wanted to get some good taps out there. So I basically took a lot of time at that time to like get into like video game music and transcribing video game music to the best of my abilities. I'm not going to say that my taps at that time were perfect, but at least they were very close. You know what I mean? They were like 95% close to the actual song that you know and love. So I just made that a thing, and that also sort of like helped me a lot with like musical ear training. You know what I mean? And just recognizing notes and recognizing patterns, especially when I did like the Banjo-Kazooie stuff and all that stuff. I just noticed a lot of things that Grant Kirkhope did when he was composing those songs, which also just, you know, just helps as a musician myself. Obviously that totally helps, so that is really cool. But back to your question, yeah, so after I've made that made the list, then I transcribe like every song. I do that all by ear. In some cases, when I'm like desperate for time, or I'm just really can't figure out a part, I might look up like a MIDI or like a tab or something, and just sort of like compare tabs, like my own to the other tab, and see if we're like on the same level with a certain note or a certain part or whatever, and then I can just move on, or it's something like that. But that is very rarely does that happen where I look up like a tab or a MIDI. It's because the only things that I can really trust are my own ears. So I do that, and then after I've done that, then it's arranging. So I just have to like come up with like a song order basically, because in medleys, what I like to do is have the song list be like in a chronological order, like from the game. So usually it starts off with like a title screen or something, and then maybe it goes to like a file select, or it goes through like the first level, or like the first song that you hear in the game or something. Like I sort of want like the medley to flow in a way that it feels like you're playing the game. You know what I mean? I don't start with like level 8 and then all of a sudden go to level 1. That just, I don't know. If I have to do it, then it because I just feel like it transitions well, then sure. But my first goal is to try to make it chronologically correct. So after I've done that, after that is arranging, and then yeah, basically then I start the recording process, where I sort of like arrange the whole thing. I always arrange the whole thing in Guitar Pro 5 first. So I just get all the transcribed songs that I've made. I put them in the right order in the Guitar Pro file, Guitar Pro file, and then I make sure that like the songs like transitions well to the next song. So that is also obviously a thing in medleys. Like it's very it's a challenge for sure, to make sure that it feels natural, and that it doesn't feel choppy. Like just you're going for this, and then all of a sudden you're there, and it has to feel natural. It almost has to feel like it's one giant song, I guess. That is basically what I'm going for. So yeah, so after I've done that, I've made the Guitar Pro 5, the Guitar Pro 5 file, Jesus Christ, file, and yeah, after that, when that is done, I just flesh it all out. Like I flesh out the drums, I flesh out the rhythm guitar, I flesh out the bass parts and all that stuff. I write that in Guitar Pro with my guitar most of the time. And after that is done, then I set up my DAW, basically. Reaper is what I use. DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation. And then I just start recording the thing. So it's not like you were saying, I think you were saying like over a click of, what is it? Oh, top of the original? No, I don't do that. It's just purely from scratch. It's an empty Reaper file. I export the drums as MIDI from the Guitar Pro file. I put that in Reaper, and then that gets played by like addictive drums is what I use. So there's drums, and then I just hit my metronome, and then I just start recording. I always start with bass first, and then the rhythm guitar, and then, oh yeah, what I also do nowadays anyway is I record like in the video, like the way how I edit is it's all like single clips, right? There's nothing, there's never like two clips at once. And I've noticed that a lot of parts that you're hearing aren't really necessary to be in the video, if that makes sense. So what I used to do back in the day was I would record everything that you're hearing. I would record the video, and I noticed that when I got into like the editing process, that a lot of those videos were just not usable because I didn't have any room for it, or they didn't matter as much. They were basically like placeholder notes or something, you know what I mean? Like not the melody that you want to see, if that makes sense. Like there's always like a demanding or how do you call that, like uh, a way more important melody, I guess. I don't know the word, but a way more important melody that I want to have in the video, or like the main melody, I guess. That's how I would say it. That you want in the video, and like all those other parts you just hear basically, but you don't really need a video for it. So I just figured, why not make some kind of like storyboard, I guess, before I actually like start my video recording. Like, and like I was saying in the parts, like if in one of the clips I showed earlier, is that the leads I do audio and video at the same time. So I just figured, like, why not just record like all the parts that I know you're not going to see in the video? Why don't I just record that now, instead of just setting up a camera, record those parts on video and not use them? You know what I mean? It's just it's like a waste of time, it's a waste of energy, and it's just not efficient in my opinion. So I just figured, let's just make a storyboard. Like I said, I can get into my own head and just think it through, like, okay, this is how it's probably going to be in the video, so I don't need that part. I do need that part for video, but I don't need that part. That's going to be audio only. That is what I call it. Like, this is just audio. You're just going to hear that. You're not going to see it in the video. So that is also a thing that absolutely helped with like the process and the efficiency behind the process, because I was just not sort of like wasting time on shooting video on parts that you're not going to see into the video, the final video anyway, you know what I mean? So yeah, that is basically it. I don't think I've missed anything that you were asking. Mostly do you record the parts? Yeah, that's it. And then after, like I was saying, it's like from scratch. It's an empty Reaper file. I start off with bass, rhythm guitar, then all the stuff that you're not going to see into the video, so the audio only for the leads, like the leads and all the clean guitars and stuff, and then all of the things that you're going to see into the video. So the so the leads that are on video. And then after I've done that, then I record video for rhythm guitar, and then I record video for bass. And that is basically it. Then the entire project is done, and then I just have to like mix the project. Obviously I do that like after, and then I edit all the videos that I have, and I edit them together into the final video that you're seeing. So excuse me, yeah, that's it. I hope that answered your question. Thank you very much for the question. And that's the end. Those are all the questions. Very interesting questions, everyone. Thank you very much. I really like just getting into this and just opening up, I guess, about my life, and you know, just I hope y'all find it interesting to listen to. I know I rant a lot, but you know, when I'm passionate about something, I just have to say what's on my mind, and sometimes it goes on for a little too long maybe, but you know, it is what it is. And once again, I really appreciate everybody that supports my channel and watches my channel, and yeah. I'll see you guys next time again. I'm going back to DK64, so that's what I'm working on for this week, and hopefully I can get the complete soundtrack going real soon. So once again, everyone, thank you very much for the question. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a good rest of your day or evening or whatever it is. See you later.